Alex is back, everyone. Alex is back for episode 47 here in the new year, second week of the new year.
Is this thing live now or what?
It's
What are we
live
doing?
now, yeah.
Oh, okay.
When we do it with just you and I, it doesn't really matter what the intros are like. So
No, because ain't nobody gonna fucking listen anyways.
we were practicing our intros.
Do you think since we've had such a drought of just us that maybe someone will give a shit to listen to this episode?
Hey, some of those have actually gained some traction. I mean,
Have they?
I think so. I was looking at them the other day, and I guess we could just start the episode looking at our
we can look at metrics if we want to.
Analytics, yeah.
Metrics for the year. Although I guess we did have the first podcast of the new year last week with Daniel DeBrock. Go check it out. That guy's super fucking smart.
Super.
He'll never tell you that he is, but
no, I've his last two posts I've already read, and I'm just like, yeah, this guy gets it.
Yeah, he's a great guest to have. I need to make those fucking reels with him and Tommy. That's one thing that having more clients has done is really fucked up my content.
Whoa. So
timeline.
Aram is now taking the lead up to 118, and then Anthony
nice.
is
Aram.
right.
Is it Aram or
Is it Aram or Aram? I don't know. I'm sorry.
I call him Aram.
Shout out 4 weeks to the beach.
Exactly.
We mixed
4 weeks to the beach.
That's probably why he just made his handle that, because he's like, I don't want people fumbling over this one. So, but yeah, Anthony's is number 2. Those both have over 115 plays. So
nice. I've got that sunshine in my pocket.
It says the top.
Why is that song in my head?
I don't know. It says the top episode was Mike's episode. It was streamed 147% more than your average episode. So I'm guessing that's like length.
Mike. Who the fuck is Mike?
Mike Barrel.
Oh, Mike Burrell.
Barrel.
Wyndham County.
It's Barrel, isn't it? Man, we're really bad at people's
Burrell, you fucking moron.
We need to help. We need help on people's names.
You need help. I don't know that we need anything. I think
it was
you
Barrel. Are you sure?
Problem.
I want to go back and watch the episode, because I think we asked.
It's Burrell. Because he fucking Burrell. Is it Burrell or Burrell? No, I don't know. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, we are 50-50 right now. Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Anthony's coming back next month too. I forgot to nail down the date or make a fucking invite for it. Hold on.
We need to get him and Mike on the same day.
I mean, we could try that. I just wanted Anthony to come on and talk about the APO.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? Since you're the big powerlifting guy.
Fucking awesome. What do you mean? What are my thoughts on it? Anything that has goddamn Dave Hoff as the vice president and Anthony is the fucking, the media guy, like, what are we talking about? It's going to be the best powerlifting organization ever. It's just, slow going in the beginning.
That's what I was about to say. There won't be no mass exodus.
I would go to Billings, Montana to compete, except for it is literally a week after I compete. So I don't think that's a good move.
Can't you just not go to yours and then go to that one?
Then not go to nationals and not go to a national stage?
Oh, so they don't have like what they need to get you in and like the next stage.
Going to the APO is not going to qualify me for the WRPF.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
This is the only time I've ever seen a meet that you could compete in any sanctioned federation and get entry to another meet because they're starting fresh.
Right.
Okay. Nothing to go off of.
Yeah. So they'd finally had enough of everybody's crap and just started their own.
The 24th. Can you do the 24th?
The 24th of February? Yeah. I think you already asked me this.
I know, but I haven't responded to him because I'm a dickhead.
That's a Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I should be fine that day.
Any time work for you?
Yeah. Prefer mornings. But hey, whatever.
I usually let him pick a time.
Yeah, doesn't matter to me.
Thankfully for us, he's on the East Coast, so we get, a little bit earlier in the day, whatever time he picks.
Hey, that Voodoo Strength guy's had a bunch of nice guests on his podcast, too. Did you look at his stuff?
I did not look at his podcast stuff. I skimmed through his profile.
I think they have like 4 seasons of stuff going on. He's had,
really?
Yeah. I was kind of like shocked because he's talked to a lot.
He's pretty well known in the conjugate world. I know that.
Yeah.
That I picked up on.
I need to go see him too and just kind of like.
Anyone that Fahey knows recommends, usually.
Yeah. I need to have some. I just need to bounce ideas off of
him. I'm so lame on Twitter that I got Fahey to retweet something yesterday. I'm like, yeah, I fucking win.
One person.
Well, I only have 30 followers on Twitter or X.
The X thing, man, it's just, I think.
So all you monkeys that listen to this, go on X and follow me. No. Also go on Threads and follow me. Also, we are on the list of affiliates today because those are basically our sponsors. So we have X Endurance that I have a link for. Code Al Ghul for 15% off. Go check that out. I provide. I highly recommend the deep sleep stuff at the very least, because that shit gives me excellent recovery. I can't even believe that it's a real thing. Flux footwear. I just ordered some new high tops. They have these high tops that are made from graphene, which are supposed to be super durable,
Graphene.
allegedly.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. You can also get 10% off if you
Hey,
use
wait.
my link.
I could just update our like screen right here and put all your sponsors on here.
And then I got collagen protein I get from Modere, which is a fancy French company, I think. But that shit works. I didn't take it for one day and my fucking acne started acting up again. And so got back on that train. I was like, is this even working? And I stopped taking it. I go, yeah, it's fucking working.
I could
So
do
that stuff's pretty legit.
If you got me a video of all your sponsors, I could put the video like in the corner of this thing and just run your sponsorship.
Let it like a ticker.
Yeah, it would work. I could put it like right down here.
Nice. What else do I have?
Make me a
N1.
video.
If you want to go to N1, click my link because it just gives me free money. So you don't get anything, but I do. So
Listen, Alex isn't in the world of actually,
keep that rolling. Well, I mean, if you're gonna buy it either way and you know me, just click the fucking link and help me out. Like, come on. I'll treat you to a nice dinner when you come out here for the practical. How about that?
My goal is to get to an N1.
There we go. Anybody who uses my link to go to an N1 course or comes out for an N1 practical, when you're out here, I will take you to dinner.
That's a pretty good offer.
I think it's good.
It's pretty salty. We go to that place that we went to. That place was pretty good.
The Roost, it's not bad.
It wasn't bad.
Pretty good for where I live.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more places in like Boulder and Denver, but
I can
in Longmont, there's a little bit less to choose from. But and what else do I got on there? We went over X Endurance, we went over Flux footwear.
Your power belt thingies?
Oh, Pioneer. If you need powerlifting gear, you could even get regular belts. They're literally just a leather crafting business that happens to make the best powerlifting belts in the fucking world.
There you go.
And they have wraps and they have sleeves and they have, the whole thing. I think they're even coming out with shoes.
So your belt is your belt from them? Or are you getting a new one?
Of course. Where else would I get it
from? Where you
I'm
had
not buying. I was just ripping on my client yesterday for having a fucking stupid ass SBD belt from Britain. Like, fuck those people. Like, he sits over here trying to make jokes about freedom units and how fucking America's better and buys a fucking belt from there. Like, fuck off, man.
I don't even know where mine's from, to be honest. I haven't even looked.
But yes, if you need a lifting belt for $170, the Pioneer one is fucking amazing.
Which is probably
and you can get custom ones that are super sick.
I was about to say that's pretty standard for what you're going to spend.
The fact that he has one that is the butt snorkeler and talking about diving into asses, like the fact that he's made those for people is the greatest thing ever. Like, that's why I love that company.
I got to look this company up now.
Pioneer. Have you not looked at the posts that I repost all the time of all the butt ones? Literally, he just titles it butt stuff.
Pioneer lifting belts. What do I look?
If you're going to the website, it's General Leathercraft.
Got it. Pioneer Fitness. Found it. Ooh, I like that red one.
I mean, they do all kinds of cool shit. That guy seems really cool too. We need to get him on the podcast. Maybe I should ask him if he'll come on.
There you go. Maybe we need to get more entrepreneurs on this year. That's the goal.
I mean, I've been busy doing other stuff, so I haven't really thought about guests, to be honest with you.
I've tried asking a few people. I got one.
Hey, there you go.
That's my goal.
You got one, guys.
Get more. I've had a few. Screw you.
You got 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not as good as you at that. So.
Hey, working in fucking sales for a long time has its perks, I suppose. Just got to do the ACA method, bro.
These are really cool.
Acknowledge, compliment, ask a question. Do that enough times, people will do whatever you want.
Should do that with my wife more. Maybe she'd like me more.
Yes, you absolutely should do that with your wife more. Are you kidding me?
I try.
Yeah, isn't it shitty that we just the people closest to us we fuck off on though? That ain't cool.
No, it's not. It's a bit of point of emphasis for 2024.
Be a better husband.
Good job. Be a better husband. Just be a better person. Did you set
that would be a good start, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Just be a better human being. Did you make any goals or do you just kind of live it by the seat of your pants?
No, I don't really make any goals, dude. I just have created these habits in the last 10 months that seem to be paying off. So I need to keep doing those same habits.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I didn't really write any goals down. Mine were just literally make better habits. And
I guess gratitude would be the big one. I had last Friday, my best friend was killed in a car accident.
What?
From high school. Yeah.
Oh.
So one of those things, like when he's just driving to work and that happens. So kind of puts into perspective life. Yeah, you didn't read those posts and just thought it was weird that I was being all fucking
Well,
melancholy?
I read that one and I was like, he seems a little somber, you know, a little more reflective. But I didn't know I wasn't gonna like, hey man. I mean, I guess I should have. I guess I should be like, hey
Okay.
dude, you good?
It's
Like,
all right. I don't feel bad.
but usually you're the guy that's like, yeah, dude, I'm fine. Leave me alone. I'm fine. I'm
Someone's got
fine.
to be the anchor.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
We
I'm
had like
fine.
a get together on Saturday and everybody's like losing their shit and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, I get it. It sucks. Fucking bullshit. It wasn't supposed to be him. It should have been his bitch ass ex girlfriend. But
Whoa.
me and her did not get along.
We don't want anyone
So
to
like the
die.
last 8 years of his life, I didn't really hang out with him that much because of her.
They were together that long. Holy moly.
Yeah, he was a super nice person and dealt with a lot of shit. So,
Oof.
but,
That's tough.
you know. So be careful driving to work.
Wow, that sucks. Just driving to work.
Head-on collision. Yeah.
I've had those thoughts a lot. Like, you know, I could just go right here on the highway. Like, someone could just be dumb and something would happen. And I can't do anything about it, you know?
Yeah, you think about it, but you don't think it'll really happen. And then when it happens to somebody you know, you're like, motherfucker, like that is a real thing, huh?
Yeah, I had a friend pass away right when he graduated high school. And then the next year, he flipped a Corvette going down a hill.
Yeah.
The front nose of the Corvette caught the lip of the hill and flipped the car
Ooh.
forward.
Oh no.
And he didn't have his seatbelt on. So that one hit
Yeah.
home. That one hit home
They're,
pretty hard.
they're not made to do that.
No. He was going like real fast.
Yeah, real fast. I'm
Real
sure.
fast. Yeah.
That's when people are like, you don't wear a helmet when you ride your motorcycle. I go, fuck no, I could die in a car accident. It's the same difference.
Yeah, you know, to each their own. That's case in point. I mean, you're just right there. You know, like
Right.
if you're gonna go, you're gonna go. Like we don't know. No one knows.
So anybody who needs a New Year's resolution, don't be a fucking asshole. How about that?
It's, you know, what your definition of asshole and their definition of asshole are probably two different things.
Well, that's okay. I mean, they're probably going to be way nicer than I would be. So.
Right. That's I was kind of, you know. See,
What you're hinting at.
I was trying not to be an asshole by hinting at it in a polite way of like, you know,
Hey,
kind of.
you know, just because I'm brutally honest sometimes.
It's
I know
fine.
it's not always received well.
I've
I'm
just
working on that.
decided that I'm going to be more proactive and get out in front of Alex's anger this year. That's the goal. Ask questions, get more feedback,
Hey, that's a crazy idea.
try to get out in front of all of his crap. Be a
That was
better.
like this new client I was talking to, and we're talking about like how invested we get into clients, and it's like, well, how invested
Hey.
are they? Hello, Anthony.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How about you, man?
Oh, not too bad.
Welcome to the show. We got started without you because we weren't sure if you remembered us. So,
Of course I do.
how's your day
Appreciate
been?
you guys having me on. It's really an honor to be on here, and great to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. How's your new year been?
It has been great. It's 24 is off to an awesome start, and training's going well. Health is good. Nothing to complain about other
Before
than
we
the weather.
get too far, that incredible Hulk poster you have behind you is fucking awesome. So, way to pick the
Thank
best
you.
character.
Man, I'm a huge superhero fan. That Dr. Serrano is based out here. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but
Mhm.
we kind of bonded over superheroes. We always talk about superheroes when I'm in the office.
That's fair.
I
I mean, I named my company after the anti-superhero, so
I
got that
love
going
it.
for me.
It is awesome.
I think the Hulk doesn't get a lot of love. Everyone always wants to go to like Thor and Iron Man,
because
but
they're
I'm like,
fucking dumb.
Hulk
The
is
Hulk
the
is
man.
the epitome of awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everyone
I
always
mean,
asks,
you got the
what would you choose? I'm like, the Hulk, duh.
strength and turn to Bruce Banner. You got the brain. I mean, bases are covered.
Yeah.
True.
Dude is awesome.
True.
Well, Anthony,
So,
you go
ahead.
yeah, thanks for coming on today. Just go ahead and just you can tell people kind of like give a slight introduction about yourself, tell people who in the heck you are, what the heck you do, and how you got to where you're at.
Sure, absolutely. So, guess we'll get it out of the way. I'm an old man, 51 years old, been training for about 25 years. Background story, it's kind of funny. The girl I was dating freshman year of college, I weighed a buck 17. She was like a buck 18. And we were out in Indiana, bars stay open pretty late, fight breaks out across the bar. And she's like, you know, I'm sitting here thinking if there's a fight that breaks out, I'm probably going to be the one that has to jump in front. And I was like, I think she's telling me to start working out. So really got into working out. I was fortunate to hook up with a guy that He competes in World's Strongest Man. Chad Coy, who's my first trainer, got me from 117 up to 185 in 6 months, all natural. And it was crazy the stuff we did. And I had started in school. I was going for, always loved science. Plan was I was going to go into pharmacy, and I just get headaches looking through microscopes and got a weak stomach. So it's kind of odd to be into science and have that stuff stacked against you. So long story short, friends saw the progress I was making, started doing a little training on the side, and it just grew from there. I ended up working directly for Charles Poliquin, trained at his center in Chicago for a while. He and Dr. Serrano mentored me. So I've just, whole career, just been fortunate to be around people a lot smarter than me. Spent a couple years at Westside Barbell, did some powerlifting, and a little bit of everything. These days, spend most of my time doing consults on peptides and putting together programs for people that are kind of like based around the training that you're doing. Is it matching your biological seasonality? Do you have the right supplements and nutrition in play to maximize what you're doing? And just trying to help everybody be the best version of themselves.
So you put on 60 pounds in 6 months, and that's incredible, by the way. And you said it was kind of some rigorous training. What did the training protocols kind of look like to put on that amount of mass in that short of time? Or was it just
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
like novel stimulus and you were just getting after it? Or what was so different about it?
probably a little bit of novel stimulus. It was funny. So we did, the training looked a lot like, are you guys familiar with Ellington Darden? Kind of the one set to failure, like full body type stuff, kind of the opposite of really what you'd think would work that well.
Right.
And we would take every set, we have a short warm up, and then every set to failure, about 10 exercises per workout. We trained 3 times a week. And then when I wasn't training, I'd go over, hang out with Chad, and um, funniest thing, we'd have like a mixing bowl, literally a mixing bowl full of 12 egg whites, cherry pie filling, oatmeal. I mean, I never tell people to eat that these days, but I was just slamming the food. And the crazy thing is, like, we tested my body fat back then. It was just calipers. Tested my body fat when I started working out, 12%, and when I got up to 185, 13%. So it was just, I think I was definitely like a little bit underweight. Never really trained with that kind of intensity. And credit goes to Chad, just pushing me, staying on top of me with the food, the training. And I just made it my life. I absolutely loved it. And luckily, I could, if a bar fight broke out, I could jump in front of my girlfriend now.
Yeah, that results help. So I'm sure that once you got to see yourself growing a little bit and getting those results and seeing the strength gains, I'm sure that just kind of kept the process moving. So did you ever get past 185? I mean, what did it look like beyond 185? And when you went to training with Charles or be around Charles, what was that like? I mean, that's got to be one of the best minds you could possibly be around. So I bet that was
Absolutely.
fantastic.
He is simply brilliant. I mean, words can't do him justice. I learned so much from being around him. And that's really kind of where I adopted this big picture, like 1,000-foot view type of approach to training. He really taught me about like integrating things like Chinese medicine, advanced cutting edge supplementation, rotating protocols, all the little like PIMST, the instant strengthening, like acupressure type stuff, applied kinesiology. And it was almost like I discovered training all over again. And great experience. Can't say enough great things about just getting to work with him and the things that I learned. To answer your question, going from 185 up to, it was almost like I kind of stalled out at 185. Then when I started really kind of applying everything that Charles taught me, got a lot leaner, dropped down to about 8%, and weight just kind of hovered around the 185. These days I sit up around about 198 and DEXA scanned at 10. So leaner, packed on some size, and ancient. Biggest difference.
Not ancient. Oh no, not ancient at all. Full of knowledge. What are you talking about? You're not ancient. That's no, not that old. You're doing all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Were you able to get out of West Side unscathed, or how many injuries did you occur dealing with Louis?
Amazingly, when I went to Westside, I had a shoulder injury, and Louis had me do the bamboo bar every time I come in. 3 sets of 20 with the kettlebells on each side, and within about 3 weeks, shoulder felt better. No major injuries when I was there. It was actually when I was outside of there that got a torn left pec 3 times, right pec 1 time, all in the belly, never in the tendon. Pulled a right hamstring, partial tear in both rotator cuffs, and pulled left hamstring twice, and tore quad on the left side. But everything's always been in the belly, and that was kind of really where like my fascination with peptides started. I can't stand missing time off of training. So I really learned about like, how do I spring back from this? How do I turn this into a positive, and how do I keep other people from getting injured?
Is that where the BPC 157 comes in? That's the only
Uh-huh.
peptide I know. That's
Yeah, it's
literally
no,
about as
absolutely.
much as my education goes on peptides.
That's the only one that gets talked about. It seems like nowadays is that one.
It is it's really kind of the Swiss Army knife of peptides. So if you're only gonna focus on one, it does so much. Can't say enough great things about it. It reduces inflammation. A lot of people are familiar with that. And the way it works on an injury, it's really cool. If you can imagine like this little scavenger going in, he's got his binoculars, he's looking for an injury, and all of a sudden he spots the injury, and he's like, there it is. And he sends over, they're called runner veins. So it gives a better vascular supply to the injury, and that improved exchange of blood, especially like if you're talking about tendon, soft tissue. You can get all the growth factors in, get all the waste products out, and that helps to flip the inflammation upside down. It also increases density of growth hormone receptors. So whether you're natural or enhanced when you're training, if you're training heavy and you're stimulating that natural release of growth hormone, now that it's got more parking spaces, so whatever amount you have is going to be more effective, and you don't have to worry about receptor involution um, if you're not natural. It's also got benefits for gut health, and I think the gut health stuff kind of gets beat to death sometimes. But that being said, I think there's some truth to when we think about like our neurotransmitters, kind of the control center of our body. It's no coincidence it's our gut. It's centrally located, and it's communication with our brain, our lungs, really all of our organs. It has a lot to do with performance and health that we're going to have.
Don't some people refer to it as like the secondary brain to your body almost?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's exactly right. They call it the second brain. Um, you probably heard 90% of the serotonin in our body is manufactured in the gut. Um, the gut communicates directly with the lung. So a lot of times when people have like asthma issue or flare ups like that, the instinctively, we think we'll give them like prednisone or something to reduce the inflammation. But the problem might actually be an immune based issue or gut that started in the gut. And by addressing that, improving the gut function, you can reduce a lot of that inflammation, improve lung function, and all sorts of things that would seem unrelated to the gut. By fixing the gut, they just clear up.
What would be your top three recommendations for fixing someone's gut if they had gut issues?
Top three issues, and we'll just assume like in a real general sense.
Hmm.
Uh, I kind of default to peptides, so I'll go through those, but then I'll give you some other ones as well. So I think really important to, well, it's not really a peptide, but start with a quality prebiotic. So make sure you're getting um, enough fiber in the diet. I like good fermented foods. And there's a place I order mine from. Just for the name alone, it's worth ordering. It's called Olive My Pickle. And they have like fermented kimchi, pickles, sauerkraut, everything. And I'll try to eat fermented foods like 3 to 4 times a day. I think a lot of people, when we think about our gut, imagine like the freeway when all the cars are bumper to bumper and nothing can get through, and it's just kind of really tight in there. Um, that's what our cells are supposed to be like in our gut, those tight junctions. And what happens when we eat things that are inflammatory, would produce zonulin. And zonulin, just think about it like kryptonite to your gut cells. So it's going to make those kind of spread apart. And when they spread apart, what happens is little food particles kind of sneak through there. So does bacteria. So when you hear about people having like inflammation from gluten, what actually happens is zonulin is going to open up those spaces. Wheat's going to sneak through, and then those particles get trapped in joint spaces. And brain's thinking like, there's something floating around in the bloodstream. It's in the joint, not really sure what it is. So it sends inflammatory signals down. And that's kind of like where things like arthritis and that kind of stuff start at. Arthritis, in fact, is really an immune-based issue, not like a joint, an acute issue. Um, it's just a series of over time, little fragments of the bone breaking off, being in the bloodstream, and then your immune system reacting to that and causing inflammation. So getting back to the zonulin, what do we do? There's a peptide, it's called lorazepatide, and it's a zonulin inhibitor. So that'll close up those spaces. And now we've got the good, good bacteria and fiber coming in from the fermented foods. So we're populating the gut with good stuff. We've got those spaces closed up, so nothing's getting through that we don't want to get through. And then the BPC 157 would be another excellent addition to that, because that's going to help repair the mucosal lining in the gut where the enzymes are formed. Also going to improve the blood supply and um, digestion process in general. So that's going to allow you to, whatever food you're eating, whether it's like me, I love pizza. I'm going to be able to pull more nutrition from that pizza, or if you want to go all healthy, getting more out of that. So it's almost like, when you think about it, if you get your gut really healthy, irregardless how you choose to eat, you're pulling more nutrition from your food, and that's going to save you money at the doctors, and that's going to save you money um, just in general.
So fermented foods,
Uh-huh.
Lorazza what? And then BP 157?
Lorazepatide,
Lorazepatide. All right, I'm gonna order this shit right
LA,
now.
Order.
it's a
If I can eat more pizza, I'll
LARA.
order it.
Yeah.
There's trying to think, Limitless Life Nootropics. They carry it. There's a company in UK. Trying to remember the name of them. They carry it. Best option, like if you have a doctor that you work with, they can call it into a compounding pharmacy and make it no problem. Not a controlled substance or anything, so no problems there. In fact, BPC actually got moved over to a nutrition supplement status for the oral form. So you can just go on like a new BioAge compounding pharmacy and order it directly.
Are there different qualities of the BP 157? Because I've heard people that like they'd rather have the prescription for it than just buy it online. Have you seen like the quality of online stuff not be as good as the pharmaceutical grade?
100%. And that's a great question. When you're talking about the quality of these products, like a compounding pharmacy is always going to be the gold standard. The reason I like Limitless Life Nootropics is they use a third party DEA approved lab, and they test every batch of stuff that goes through there. So those, you know what you're getting. It's going to be safe. It's going to be good. Some of the times, like when people buy like a cheap product online, because sometimes they can get pretty expensive, and I can certainly appreciate wanting to save a little bit of money. um, it's crazy. Like I've seen some terrible rashes. Sometimes you don't even know that what you're getting is what it's supposed to be. And the biggest issue, like on some of the really bad ones, where they're importing stuff from China and they're not getting it tested, there's going to be like metals in there, and all sorts of things that obviously, like metals, that could disrupt like thyroid function. Um, it can affect your nervous system. So it's like, the way I explain it to people, when you think about like if you're looking on, say, like cheap site, and BPC is like, we'll just say $50, and you look over at like New BioAge, it's $100, and it's like, man, it's $50 more. Sounds expensive, and it's twice as much. But when you think about like all the people that go to Starbucks every day, $5 on a coffee, 30 days out of the month. They're spending $150 on a Starbucks. If they just cut out 10 of those days, they've already made up that price difference. And when you consider that peptides can affect you on a genetic and epigenetic level, and then you have the peace of mind that you're getting what you're paying for, it's safe and effective, it seems like a good investment.
What would be some of the things that someone would be struggling with to maybe go to the doctor to get kind of a prescription for this BC 157 or BPC 157, or like any kind of peptide in general? What would they be like? I guess there's obviously a list of problems that could probably be happening, but like
Uh-huh.
what would just be something that'd be like, man, I think I need to go to my doctor to maybe talk to them about this, or something that they're displaying, or they're not digesting their food well, or what would lead
Yeah,
them to have that conversation?
absolutely. If somebody's, I'd say just general health feels a little bit off, and that could be like they feel a lot of inflammation. They feel like they're not recovering from their workouts as well. Sleep is disrupted. Memory's not as sharp. Bloating after meals. Those are all things that peptides can help with. Doesn't mean they're the only solution out there, but that would be a good place to kind of start the conversation. And then, depending on which one of those was presenting, um, I would kind of go in and talk to the doctor. We'll just go with digestion and maybe mention something like, I feel kind of bloated after every meal, and was listening to a podcast. They were talking about lorazepam, BPC 157. Did a little bit of research on them. You're the expert, you're the doctor. Wanted to get your thoughts on this and see if that was something you'd feel comfortable calling into the compounding pharmacy and kind of monitoring my health, see how things are going. Um, the There's a group I work with out of Boulder, Colorado. They're phenomenal. Everspan Life, and they'll order your labs. They'll oversee your program, and just a really brilliant, forward-thinking team. They work with a lot of like top-level performers as well as just like executives, general population, so anybody you can think of. And they're really open to um, helping you get the most out of your life and performance and everything.
What kind of led you down the peptide trail? Because like, was it more of like the injuries that you were occurring over and over and over again, or was it just like you'd kind of found it based upon something that you'd read, or like what really made you do the deep dive into the peptide world?
So, funny story, full disclosure. I used to, like, a long time ago, I was really big into bodybuilding, and um, I got a funny Dan Duchesne story for you guys later if we have time. But I was just passionate about it. And what I hated the most about bodybuilding, outside of the stupid trunks you have to wear when you get up on stage, is the smell of that protein you had to put on. I mean, that stuff was awful. And I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way. So I was reading about in France, they were using this melanotin, which is a peptide. It improved sleep. It improved, you could get tan in like 10 days from taking this peptide. And I'm like, problem solved. So that was really the first exposure I had to peptides. And then through like the powerlifting bodybuilding scene, started to read about things like the different forms of IGF. Um, Insulin's actually a peptide, so did a lot of reading about that, growth hormone. Um, and then with my own personal injuries, that's where I really started doing a lot of reading about this stuff, and was like, man, there's just so much you can do with these. Like I knew I could, now I had to spray protein again, and I knew I could definitely do stuff to like improve my memory, my muscle performance, recovery in the gym. But I never knew like I could do things like improve brain function. I could improve my sleep. I could improve, not get as many wrinkles. I mean, now that I'm 51, I do have to think about that. Even grow hair back. I mean, it's amazing. Like the list just goes on.
Um, so is MK677 really a peptide, or does it just get sold with peptides?
It's so technically it's what you would call a secretagogue. So when we think about like growth hormone releasing peptides, growth hormone, uh, GHRPs, GHRHs, hormone releasing hormones, and secretagogues. Give you kind of an idea. There are some that are, I like to think about the pituitary like a gas tank. And if you look at like a CJC 1295 or a tesamorelin, those are going to be really good at filling up that gas tank. So it's sending the signal to your body to make more growth hormone, fill that gas tank up. So you got a full tank. And then when you hit your deep sleep, it gets pulsed out through the night when you're sleeping. Um, the Something like an ipramorelin is going to be like when you think about the gas pedal in a car. Now you got a full gas tank, but you want to kind of use some of that gas. So it kind of pushes down that gas pedal. So you're pulsing out that growth hormone through the night. And then when you think about a secretagogue, it works a little bit different in the sense that it kind of does. Easiest way to explain it would be like a little bit of both. It could kind of work on its own. The MK167 or 677, you're going to see a little bit more water retention and um, definitely more appetite stimulation than some of the other ones, but really a great compound. What I like to do when I'm helping people kind of construct like what's going to be optimal, um, I like to do something like a CJC 1295 ipramorelin to start with, and they're going to get the benefits of like a natural growth hormone pulse release, going to have that full tank of gas. And it also has some benefits like that are a little bit farther reaching, like it reduces inflammation in the cardiomyocytes in the heart. So good for your heart. And it is going to help with like recovery. But with peptides, it's really, when you think about what they do, they're signaling molecules and they're going to optimize your genes and the expression of those genes, but they're never really going to take you to that super physiologic range. Like if you were taking like exogenous growth hormone. Um, so I'd start with something like that. And then after usually about like 4 to 6 weeks, I'd go for about 2 to 4 weeks with like an MK677. And then I'd return because usually by then it's kind of getting closer to either a vacation or summer. So I take that CJC 1295 out, replace it with tesamorelin. Tesamorelin, wherever it's injected, actually loses fat. So if you're an old man like me and trying to look a little bit better when you're on vacation with your fiance, so she still wants to stick around, great, great option to throw in. And you could use that with either by itself or with the ipramorelin.
So you can literally inject that in your side, and your love handles will start to disappear. What you're telling
Yeah,
me.
that's exactly right.
This episode is gonna fuck up so many people.
Oh no. How
I
how often
apologize.
how often
No,
can
it's
that
all
be
right.
done? How often can that be
It's
done?
actually a daily
Wow.
injection. It's an approved medication. They've used it in AIDS patients for lipodystrophy for years safely, no problems. And when you think about like even if you were to take like what would be considered a really high dose in that, the IGF-1 response would still be not even close to like if you were taking exogenous growth hormone. So, for the most part, I mean, of course, you want to check with your doctor, get blood work done, and everything. But for the most part, really, these are pretty safe, and it's really hard to take so much that you're gonna mess your health up. The bigger problem would be that a lot of people, if you kind of read the Reddit forums and everything, you see people taking these really high bolus doses of like CJC ipramorelin. And when you think about the saturation dose, and by saturation dose, that means like when for it to activate, you have to have receptors. And when all those receptors, like if there's I think of them as parking spots. When there's a car in all those parking spots, you can't really park on top of it without getting a ticket or somebody pissed at you. So it just doesn't work. And when people take higher than the saturation dose at once, it doesn't necessarily give them like bigger magnitude of a growth hormone pulse or better effect. You just basically waste it. And that actually can cause more of that receptor involution because all those receptors are full and they're getting pushed on still. So they'd be so much better off if they took just the saturation dose of 100 micrograms, which isn't much at all. And if they wanted to get more of an effect at like morning empty stomach, before or after a workout empty stomach, depending on the situation and goal, and then evening empty stomach versus if you did that same 300 before you went to bed.
So is the side of there's there doesn't appear to be as many side effects related to a lot of this stuff, but it's more just people not doing their due diligence on what they should take and how they should take it. Is that kind of the blowback or drawback of doing these type of peptides? Or is just
Yeah.
people's ignorance and stupidity that gets them in the way of this stuff not
For
working?
the
Or?
MK677, Nathan, you'll get so fucking hangry that nobody wants to deal with you.
You do get pretty hungry. I agree.
I'm not kidding. You wake up drooling like a fucking baby, which is amazing. But if you don't feed yourself, holy fuck. And there is no like, you're full. You don't feel full ever. It's just like, oh, more food. Cool.
So do
Yeah.
you, Alex, is that like when you're doing like a hypertrophy phase? Is that something that you kind of do with it
I used to
alongside
take
it?
it all the time because it just made me sleep so good. I get 6 hours of sleep and feel like I got 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's terrific for increasing deep wave sleep.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's the only peptide I've messed with. But as I sit here and look at this website that he told us about, they have all kinds of cool shit, like nasal spray new peps, which I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know you could just fucking
Oh
puff
yeah,
new pep.
and you guys are into powerlifting, so 100 milligrams the nasal spray, like right before you work out, like boom, nervous system's going to be ready to
Yeah.
go.
Huh.
I just
And
learned about this new pep stuff. Like it's what the Russians use, right?
oh yeah,
It's like a
and
big.
it's incredible. It increases when we think about powerlifting and like one of the adaptations we're going to have, and that neural rate coding, basically like NuPep is something that really supports that well. There's NuPep, there's cerebrolysin, and also if you get like a TBI, they use cerebrolysin for that. They use it for Alzheimer's, dementia, but you can for powerlifting, you can take it intramuscularly, and you'll have localized strength adaptations and improved nervous system adaptation for wherever you're putting it.
So Nathan, all I hear is that the 2000 total is going to happen one day. There's enough chemicals in the world
Yep.
that I think I can do it.
You just pump yourself up. There you go.
I
Wow.
also saw in here they have NAD that you can take. Now, can you explain to people what NAD is or NAD plus? Because isn't it like supposed to supercharge your cells and basically like take them back to being better than they were before, type of thing?
Yeah. Actually, I'm really glad you brought that one up. That's an interesting one to talk about. So a lot of people go get like the NAD plus IVs, and basically what NAD does, so that we have a little bit of context. We make it naturally in our body, and the thought is that like as we get older, we produce less of it. But there's some debate to that, like as to whether we're just kind of using it at a higher rate or whether we're really making less of it. So NAD, what it does, it donates an electron um, and to a cell, which is my nerdy Bruce Banner way of saying it gives that cell energy, and it turns our food into energy. So it helps with that process of turning food into energy and giving energy to the cell. It also can repair damaged DNA, so that stuff sounds really good. But what we want to think about with NAD, and this is where people get into trouble, um, we have oxidation and redox, and I don't want to get too nerdy on this, but I'll make it super simple so that everybody can kind of understand this, and it'll make sense when we talk a little bit more about why I don't love NAD supplementation and what a better alternative is. So if you think about oxidation and redox, all you have to remember, oil rig. Easy enough, oil rig. So oxidation is loss. That's like if an electron's being given away. Rig, reduction, is gain. So if you're gaining an electron. Um, and if you think about like if me and you were throwing a tennis ball back and forth, and we'll call those electrons, if we're just throwing one back and forth, no problem. If we were throwing two back and forth, you're probably a lot better at catching me. So we'll just assume I can still keep up. But if you get like 100 of those going in there and those are flying off all different directions, these electrons, that's where bad things start to happen. And when we throw off that balance of oxidation and redox, our cells that naturally produce antioxidants, it turns them upside down, and they start producing more free radicals. And that's kind of where people get into trouble with cancer and everything. So really, really, really important to have that balance between oxidation and redox. Um, to explain the NAD thing a little bit more, because NAD is fantastic. I think it's something we all absolutely need, and there's some real health benefits to it. What I prefer to do on that same website, there's a product that's called 5 amino 1 MQ. And what that does, when we think about NAD, there's an enzyme, NNMT. I won't give you guys a big long name, NNMT. And what it does is the more of it you have, the faster you break down NAD. So one of the theories is as we get older, we're ramping up things like senescent cells and things that are going to, we've got more NNMT, so we're just breaking NAD down faster. So what we can do with 5-amino-1-MQ is it'll actually decrease the amount of NNMT, and by doing that, that gives us just the right amount of NAD in there. So we're breaking it down slower. It's able to repair the DNA. It's able to convert food to energy. It's able to give our cell energy, but we're not throwing extra electrons in there to where I'm going to be like tennis balls everywhere. I can't keep up. So we don't have to worry about creating these radical oxygen species or throwing off that balance of oxidation and redox.
Also, what they have on here is it blocks the NNMT, which can reduce body fat. Got to throw
Yep,
that one in there.
absolutely.
Like, we got to know that, Anthony. Like, that's the big one.
Yep, yeah, it's terrific. Like I really like it for if you take it like I take 150 milligrams in the morning, and that's going to help set into place like the balance of oxidation redox for the day. It's going to help me all day convert that food into energy more efficiently, lower that NNMT enzyme. And by converting the food into energy more efficiently and giving the cell the energy to metabolize it, that's where we really see that fat loss benefit.
That makes sense. Now, with something like the BP 157, where you can do the injectable or the oral, is it like receptive to that site when you inject it, or is it just something that you can get into the bloodstream faster by using the injection?
That's a great question. With the a lot of these peptides, you'll see like there's, and for BPC2, there's like you can do intranasal, you can do inject, you can do oral. So it's like, well, what's the difference between these? So they're all going to have the same like big benefits, like digestive health and everything. To answer your question, if you have like an acute injury, like let's just say you hurt your shoulder lifting tomorrow,
Mhm.
acutely, like you'd want to do the BPC as an injection right there, because if I'll use myself for the example at 51, like I'm sure there's things that are broken down in my body I don't even know about. And if I've got this little molecule of BPC going around making changes, it gets about halfway through my stomach and it's like I'm all used up. So you want it to be a little bit closer to the injury, so it's going to have greater magnitude of effect there. Now, if you're taking it for general health purposes, like increased density of growth hormone receptors or improved digestive health, capsule form's terrific. And if you're doing it to help with like dopamine modulation, you can even do like an intranasal. Although, anecdotally speaking, N of one, I think that I've seen as much benefit for dopamine modulation with just a capsule or the sub Q as I have with intranasal. So I'm not really sold on the intranasal, but I know some people swear by it. So that's just wanted to give you guys all the options. And in fact, other one, you guys will get a kick out of this. No kidding. In powerlifting, hemorrhoids are a thing, and I mean they're a thing for everybody. And man, you don't want to have to go through that surgery. Like that is horrible. And one of the things that they're doing with the BPC, they can actually compound it into a suppository. And if you have hemorrhoids, you can use it as a suppository. So, um, it depends on the severity of the issue, but that's a great option for potentially avoiding surgery. And if that's something that somebody's dealing with, heart goes out to them. That is no fun at all, and might be a great way to stay off the carving table, so to speak.
Now,
Go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Nathan.
Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
Are most of the injectable stuff, is it subcutaneous, or does it kind of go back and forth between subcutaneous and intramuscular?
Yeah. So all the injectable things, peptides, you can do them all subcutaneously. You can also do intramuscular on Pretty much all of them I'm aware of, but generally speaking, you're going to go sub-Q. Um, there's even a couple you can do intra-articular. So like arthritis is a big thing for people. Um, and especially like I remember from my powerlifting days, like asked about injuries, and none when I was there, but now that I'm getting older, like some of that arthritis was starting to show up, and some really cool things you can do to get rid of the arthritis. So like just the BPC, thymosin beta 4 that people are familiar with will reduce inflammation, but on top of that, you can use, it's called AOD 9604, and you'd use that with hyaluronic acid, and you'd have a doctor inject it intra-articularly. So the AOD, when you think about growth hormone, it's 191 amino acids long. AOD is basically like the 176 through 191 with a slight modification added on. So it's just this little fragment of it. It's got basically all the fat loss benefits of growth hormone, but in addition to that, it reduces inflammation. So with the hyaluronic acid in the joint, that would be something you do maybe twice a week. And then there's another compound. It's not a peptide, but it's called pentasin polysulfate. It's intramuscular, and you would do that, and it's actually been shown in studies to regenerate cartilage that people have lost from arthritis. So that combo would be phenomenal for somebody that's dealing with arthritis, joint pain, that kind of thing, and um, get you back up and feeling terrific. At 51, I'm no aches and pains, knock on wood, and really been fortunate to have some of these cool things at our disposal.
You've given a lot of great ways to obviously do this stuff very safely. This website you recommended, and then obviously consulting your doctor. But what are some of the, like, if people are just out there and they're truly being ignorant and they just want to save money and they're going and trying to find ways to save money on this stuff, what are some red flags that they can look for on websites, or like what are some of the things that like might alert them to be like, hey, stay away from this product? What are they really looking for when it comes to like this company over that company when it comes to what they should or shouldn't buy?
The I guess kind of the big red flags for me, I always like to see like a certificate of analysis and third party testing. Um, Generally, like if the price is like super low compared to like what the average price is across the market of something, that tells you that you're kind of rolling the dice on that one, because what drives the price up is the cost of the testing. So on the one hand, it's nice of them to try to pass the savings along, but on the other hand, it's like they're focused on population that's thinking price over quality. So ask if you're kind of on the fence about a company, ask for a certificate of analysis, ask for third-party testing results. Um, Really, the surest way is going through the your doctor compounding pharmacy. But I certainly understand the expense of these, and won't be an option for everybody. Um,
I know there's a lot of Amazon buyers out there that are looking for like collagen.
Yeah,
Collagen
Nathan,
is
you're
one.
not getting this on Amazon.
No, well,
yeah.
collagen's one that's talked about a lot, like collagen peptides and people trying to buy
And
all
all of
this
the
stuff.
collagen's bullshit for the most part, except for the stuff that I sell because it's liquid form and comes with the hyaluronic acid, like he was
Oh
saying.
yeah.
So when you pair the collagen protein with the hyaluronic acid, it actually works better.
Yeah, so like I guess that's what I'm asking more of. Like, what do you tell the people that are all big into the collagen peptides and they're buying all this collagen and this and this and that, and what are the pros
They're
and
getting
cons of it?
scammed like everyone else in the fucking supplement place. Like if you go look at this website he recommended, Nathan, you'll understand. Like, oh, okay, there's not going to be not anybody's looking for this stuff
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like they would spend more on supplements than they probably pay you a month in training.
Right.
Yeah, it could get expensive, and with the collagen, I agree. There's a lot of just crappy products out there. There is and you're probably already aware of this. I'm sure your listeners are too. That Tendo Forte type of collagen, researched in Australia for joint pain. One of the protocols I'll do is 20 grams of Tendo Forte an hour before working out, with 15 milligrams of vitamin C, and that's terrific if you have somebody that has like tendonitis or tendon flare up. Um, it is tough though, because I'm sure you probably know better than I do that when you're the person, you're making this product, it's like you're going to have vendors that are like, oh, it's only like $5 or it's $500, and it's like, what's the difference? And the people that have the $5 product are going to tell you like, oh, nobody will know the difference. It's 90% good. But what I try to think about, and the way I try to explain it to people, to answer your question, Nathan, when they ask about the Amazon thing, is, if you got something that's 90% good, if you're talking about Shaq shooting free throws, well, that's phenomenal. But if you're talking about like you're getting a kilo of this stuff and only 90% of that's good, what if you got the 10% that's just nothing but like
Sure.
shaved down hooves and lips and who knows what?
Right.
That
Right.
it's chances are pretty good that you're getting something good, but if you don't, it's not just that you didn't; it's that you really didn't, and you're going to be paying for that in tenfold.
Yeah. That's
Now, have you messed with L-glutathione at all, Anthony?
Uh-huh. Um, yeah,
Is it
for
for
the
those nights when you have too many drinks, or do you have other purposes for it? Because what I've heard about it is that it is the thing that eliminates alcohol from the bloodstream. And when you run out of it naturally, that's when you start to get drunk. So if you supplement with it, your hangover is either non-existent or, you can kind of avoid all those pitfalls of drinking.
it can it definitely helps eliminate alcohol from the bloodstream. There's a couple more things that happen in the like when you're drinking that causes like some of that grogginess the next day and everything. Alcohol is gonna uh, wipe out. Even it's ironic, like people drink, they pass out, they're like, man, I was out like a light last night. Wake up the next day, they don't feel rested at all. It's because we don't hit that deep wave sleep, and significantly reduces REM sleep and virtually no melatonin production. um, and then it also has like effects on hormones and causes inflammation in the gut. So like that's another thing, like the BPC or KPV, both of those are anti-inflammatory in the gut. Those can help with that. To answer your question about glutathione, um, there's again, we want to always make sure we're balancing oxidation and redox. It's a really strong antioxidant. So in an acute situation, like if somebody's got a lot of oxidative damage, like they're fighting off a cold or like they're doing like a lot of volume training, um, or alcohol, it can be good. I would actually do like an intranasal or a liposomal form. It's going to be better absorbed that way. Um, and but yeah, with that, I prefer. I'm a fan of like if I was gonna go supplement that versus N-acetylcysteine, I like to supplement the N-acetylcysteine, which would be the precursor. And then for those situations where it's like, oh man, I feel like I'm coming down with something, or like, oh, I had a late night. That's where I'll acutely do something like the intranasal glutathione, and that works phenomenally.
Man, this just sounds like you could just what situations am I constantly seeing myself in? So let me just constantly supplement these peptides and things to counteract everything that I'm doing wrong. But I don't know. It sounds too good to be true. No, I'm just kidding.
Now, for somebody who's not having problems, Anthony, does this
Uh-huh.
allow them to then all of a sudden be more like superhuman, I guess? Like, would they be more like performance enhancing drugs for somebody who's already healthy?
The way I
Any
like
of
to
the
answer that
peptides, really?
question, I would say yes, but a good way to think about it. So let's say I got a stereo, and it goes all the way up to 10. And like right now, I'm listening to it, dials on 3, and I can turn it up to 6. I've turned it up to 6 before, and it's pretty loud. The speakers are crackling a little bit, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't go up to 10. But the machine is built to go to 10. You just got to make sure the wires are good, everything's connected well. And peptides do that. They let you turn that stereo up to 10. So whatever your genes are, it's going to be the best expression of them. And the signals that your cell gets, it's going to be like a really clear, precise, almost like you got a general running the army instead of like handing it over to a sergeant. So it's going to be the best signal possible, the best expression of your genes possible. But if we're talking about turning that stereo up to like 11 when the dial only goes up to 10, like you'll never be able to do that. So there's a lot of things peptides can do in terms of restoring youth, optimizing performance, um, getting the most out of every year you have. But that being said, like you won't be able to move past your biology with them.
So it's like the shit they sell you at the gas pump that tells you your car's gonna work better.
Yep, yeah. Yeah, you get the good octane in there and everything. Like theoretically, the car's gonna run as perfectly as it can, break down less, and yeah, that's a perfect way to explain it.
I gotta
So
get me.
Nathan, we need to get you on the peptides
I was
and
about
then
to
the real
say,
juice.
I gotta get me a new car. I gotta try this peptide car. Sounds like so.
Yeah,
Okay,
if only.
I've never done them or never, and I know you recommended a couple earlier, but just for me getting into it, what would be again some good recommendations for me to start if I was going to start?
The really I think for just because it covers so many bases and you're going to see improvement from it. Like if we're just talking about ground level, I'm going to add one thing in. BPC is a pretty safe starting point. The one I like in particular, New BioAge, their compounding pharmacy makes a BPC with KPV in there. So it's got terrific anti-inflammatory effects. KPV also has some antibacterial, antiviral, clean up the junk in your stomach effects. So you'd really see a big benefit just from that. At the very least, you're gonna recover from workouts faster. Joints are gonna feel better. That's gonna allow you to train even harder and more frequently. Um, if you're thinking about like, okay, so this is going pretty good. What do I want to layer in next? That's where I'd probably start looking at like some of the growth hormone releasing peptide, growth hormone releasing hormones. And I like to start with like a CJC 1295, ipamorelin, just saturation dose, 100 micrograms. And that's gonna, now you've got improved natural pulsive growth hormone. That's gonna help with everything from uh, hypertrophy, quality of sleep, healthier heart, better organ function, all that. And because it allows you to build more muscle and work synergistically with the BPC 157, um, it's going to improve insulin sensitivity because now you have bigger machinery to metabolize those carbohydrates and more parking spaces for that glucose. Um, and then if we were like, all right, we're let's go Rolls Royce, like hit me with another one. I'm ready for it. I would look at it's called MOTSC, MOTC, and it's a mitochondrial peptide, and it's super cool. I absolutely hate cardio. As a trainer, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I challenge you guys to find somebody that hates cardio more than me. Um, this MOTSC, it's a exercise mimetic, and they gave it to mice for 6 weeks, improved their performance by 25%. And these mice were completely inactive and didn't change their diet. And there was a reduction in body fat. So uh, it's going to help with mitigating oxidative stress to the mitochondria. So you have a healthy powerhouse where all your energy is made. Um, the exercise mimetic effect, and some people it can actually improve HRV a little bit without adding any cardio in. It's going to improve insulin sensitivity, so it's going to allow you to eat more carbohydrates. And
That's a good one. I need that one.
yeah, so it's and that one I just if you're no exposure to it, just something simple like 5 milligrams 3 times a week, empty stomach in the morning. Um, you can, I believe they safely dose that one all the way up to 1,600 milligrams a week to kind of give you guys the range. But that's one of the things I always tell people to, when you hear these big numbers, and this is really for anything, whether we're talking nutrition supplements, hormones, peptides, um, you don't want to go for the biggest number. You want to go for the absolute minimum that's going to get the desired effect you want, get the most out of the least. It's just like with your workouts, just like with everything that I hate to sound lazy, but most out of the least.
Nope, we preach that message all the time. So that's right down our alley for sure. Man,
For the low price of $100, Nathan, you got your clients start losing weight.
which wait
Or
on
the
what
MOTC, what he just
MOTC?
talked about. I'm
Yeah,
over here looking them all up as he's talking
he
about them,
just
so I can make
straight.
a wish list.
He's already just like he's got a cart that's probably the size of Texas right now on these things.
I mean, these things sound amazing, and my experience with the MK has been so beneficial every time that it's like, all right, well, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah, it's definitely really amazing stuff. When we're done too, I'm happy to shoot you guys and your listeners like a VIP link. It'll give you access to products that aren't on the immediate site, so you get like the big list. You can create your own account, and also if you use my coupon Peptide Pit Stop, saves you 10%. So uh, save a little bit of money, and makes it a little bit easier if you're just looking at the one site and it's like, man, this one's so much less expensive. At least you get another 10% off. So happy to message those over to you, and you can distribute them or not distribute them, whatever you guys want to do.
You just gave Alex Christmas in January. His list is getting even longer as we
This
speak.
is going to be the new affiliate that I get is peptides. Fuck all these other things. Like, this shit
the
sounds awesome.
Well, it's funny. Like in the news, I'm sure you guys have heard about like the Wegovy, Ozempic,
Sure.
Ozempic, and a lot of people now people are starting to hear more, but those are actually peptides. Um, and when you see all the weight loss that people are getting, it's that's just an example of like when you have things like your sugars balanced out and you're getting the right signal to the pancreas, and brain is in tune with it's eaten enough, and it even curbs semaglutide. There's a paper,
It's
I
the one I
believe
just
it
clicked on.
was, there's a paper in, I believe it was May, that was, or it's going to be, I think it's already been published, where they've shown that semaglutide suppresses people's urge to drink alcohol. So it won't make you like never drink alcohol, but like if you're somebody that struggles with like just habitually sitting down and having a drink, it'll curb your desire to do that.
Oh, I need that.
In general.
I need that for not for me. I need that for clients. I have clients that's a big one. They just like have the
Oh yeah,
casual the beers on the sit downs on the weekends or things like that. And I'm like,
yeah.
well, it would be beneficial if you didn't. But so yeah, that's there you go. There you go.
The what's really interesting is you guys probably see in the news they talk about like people losing muscle and like getting Ozempic face and everything. Ironically, these like they're called GLP-1s. They have a mild myostatin suppression effect. So theoretically, it makes it easier to build muscle. When you see these people losing the muscle, what happens because it suppresses desire to eat? They're not getting enough protein in, and I mean, if you weren't taking them, if you don't eat enough protein, you're going to lose muscle. And then the other big thing, and this is one I really preach on. A lot of people don't hydrate enough, and man, I've got, I'll share it with you guys if you're interested. I have a hydration formula, and you can just order this stuff off of Amazon, or you can order it directly from New BioAge. And what it does, it pulls water into the cell, so you get that nice cell volumizing effect. And when a cell is like fully hydrated and fully polarized, when we talk about peptides and how they work and messages, now you've got a cell that's uh, able to receive those messages and give those messages better. So it makes everything work better. It makes it easier to gain muscle, makes it easier. Your whole body conducts electricity, so it makes signals transmit more effectively, especially central nervous system, like for strength output. And super accessible ingredients. Simplest thing in the world. You just go on Amazon, get the amino acid alanine, just buy it in bulk. Amino acid glutamine, amino acid glycine, and creatine, and leucine, also an amino acid, and 64 ounces of water. You'd add 5 grams of alanine, 4 grams of glutamine, 3 grams of glycine, 3 grams of leucine, which I know the leucine threshold is 4 grams, and everybody's thinking mTOR pathway. I'll tell you guys in a minute though about the lower dose leucine, super cool. And then 5 grams of creatine, and mix that in the 64 ounces of water. Just sip that throughout the day. I learned that from Seeds Scientific Research Foundation. Bill Seeds was the head of the NFL physician stuff and did it with all his athletes. And this is amazing. I mean, this is, if I were to tell you guys like one thing to do, this hydration protocol, super impactful. You guys will not be disappointed. But with that low dose leucine, what it does, and this comes back to the insulin sensitivity that a lot of our clients struggle with. It activates, it's called the sirtuin 1 gene, and that activates AMPK, but don't worry about all the letters. AMPK is kind of the opposite of mTOR. It slows down cell growth, but it also ramps up insulin sensitivity. So if you just have them sip this water throughout the day, they're going to improve insulin sensitivity. And that sirtuin 1 is like the longevity gene. That's the one in the petri dish. They're like, we could live to 120. So all you got to do is just drink water and throw those things in there.
All right. I'm convinced. I've got some of that stuff on sitting on my shelf, so I
Yeah,
just need to get
most
some of
of
the other one.
a lot of people already have like the
Yeah.
glycine, creatine.
That's bad though, I thought.
The yeah,
The
stuff
the
you
old
hear about.
creatine narrative.
Oh yeah, yeah, it cracks me up.
So bad. It's such a bad, terrible thing. Nobody needs creatine. It's getting better. I think it's getting better. I think that narrative's going
Yeah.
away a little bit. But
What's interesting is the narrative's really switched. I mean, there's the performance benefits, but now they're starting to see all the brain health stuff. And there was a study where they looked at people that were sleep deprived, and the one group got creatine, the one group got coffee, the one group nothing. And the group that had creatine actually performed the best on the cognitive function tests and reported the least perceived fatigue out of any of the three groups. So definitely starting to see, like, I think it's becoming more accepted. I still have to tell people that it's not the same thing as testosterone, and but
what?
generally speaking, it's made some headway.
Wow. Alex?
Now I need a sponsorship from these peptide places because I want to try all of them. And at $100 a pop, like we're going down a deep rabbit hole here.
They can get expensive. The what I tell people is just kind of think about it like uh, you use them kind of intermittently, achieve the goal, and then until you need something, do it again. I mean, if you have unlimited bank account or you get the sponsorship, then absolutely, I'd be happy to put together a full year program. But practically speaking, it can get really expensive. So even just doing something simple like starting with the BPC, I think a lot of people are going to see benefit there, and definitely, that's a platform to build on. When you improve that gut health, all the nutrition supplements you're already taking, food you're eating is going to be more effective, and um, even naturally, like the growth hormone you release, now that you have that denser bed of receptors, you're going to get more out of your training. So great starting point, not too terribly expensive.
That's what I'm going to start. That's simple. That's where I'm starting. You've
Are
convinced
these
me.
Yeah.
things safe for women since women have ill side effects to performance enhancing drugs? Are peptides going to be the same or are they universally kind of accepted for everybody safely?
As long as we're talking about like a clean quality product, I'd say universally healthy. Um, there are there's a peptide, it's called kisspeptin. And for women with an irregular cycle, you can actually use it to help get them back on a normal cycle. But that being said, like if they didn't know what they were doing, and that's why I tell people, go work with a qualified professional. That would be one, maybe they have some problems with. And um, but yeah, generally speaking, to answer your question, same for men and women. There shouldn't be ill side effects, or they shouldn't have any unique issues being women.
Yeah, I just have a lot of female clients that I'll give them these protein recommendations. They're like, "Oh, I have digestive issues," and I'm like, "What? From what? Like, what are you eating?" And now that you say that they have BP157 and it's a digestive thing, and I was reading about it on the website, even that the gastrointestinal health that comes with it is a big improvement. And you just be like,
Yeah,
"Well, try this, and then try what you're doing," and right.
yeah,
You were saying for
definitely.
the gastrointestinal stuff, you can do the capsules are just fine, right?
Capsules are perfect. Yeah, and I think for with peptides, I would say women more than men. The biggest barrier to entry is that whole anxiety of like giving yourself a shot. So if you do the capsules, that kind of gets around it.
Right. Yeah, I try to not steer people towards the needles because most people are so deathly afraid of them. But
Oh
you know,
yeah.
I know in the goals that aspirations I have for myself that's got to be just part of the game at some point. So
Yeah.
you know how it goes at West Side, right? Louis tells you what the best thing for recovery is well,
Oh
take
yeah.
some drugs.
Man, there were some really strong people there. I mean, it was just such a privilege to get to work out there, and Louis was awesome. I mean, I just love that guy. Um, I learned so much from him. It's funny when I was over there, he called me the Vitamin King. He used to get nosebleeds all the time, and we were talking one day after a workout, and um, he was telling me about these nosebleeds, and you know, for obvious reasons, when you think about that coagulating factor, it's a lot. Your liver health is going to be super important for being able to make that. And fair to say, Louis' liver had a tough life at that point, and I gave him a liver support protocol, and 3 weeks didn't have but one nosebleed in 3 weeks after having him like a couple times a week. And people would come up to him and they'd be like, "Hey, Louis, you know, what do you think about this supplement?" And he'd be like, stroke his goatee. He's like, "Go talk to the Vitamin King."
That's
But
awesome.
I learned so much from training from him. I mean, least I could do is try to give back to him somehow, and anybody there. I mean, they got so many great lifters there, and I put up my best numbers ever when I was over there. It was a great experience.
What was your
You
best?
think that just
Go ahead.
was that part of just being in that environment, you think?
I think a lot of it was environment. There was definitely some stuff that I learned in terms of technique, and it's funny. Like when I was over there, I'd already read about the conjugate system and had kind of set up my training that way and tried it out. But when I was over there, what I discovered was like on the speed days, and I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong. I was actually using too heavy of a load. I wasn't measuring the bar speed properly, and I was just a little bit slow on the bar speed. But when I dropped the weight off on my speed day, and I really focused on that bar speed, that's when my numbers shot right up. The best squat I had when I was there was 650, weighed 181. Did 420 on bench, and deadlift was 575.
Wow.
All equipped, of course. That was um, the just how you lift it over there. But and I, as proud as I was of those numbers, there were girls there that were at least 2 times as strong as me. So, you know, my 15 minutes of fame, but real strong people are over there.
Yeah, it seems like quite the place. I only got to go there after Louis was there, and I was like, oh, I could see how you could break some records in this place. Like, there's just this energy of like, we're not fucking around and we're getting work done today.
It's so cool. Yeah, you go in there, I was with a group of 5 people, and it's like as soon as like you do your bench and somebody's loading the plates and you're catching your breath, you just had this really smooth rotation going, and everybody's, you know, cheering you on. And the biggest thing, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, for me, like sometimes when I step up there with a lot of weight on my back or whatever, it's like that whole like, oh man, you know, I don't know if this person can spot me, like a little bit worried. But when you're over there, like, I mean, it's just you step up and, you know, no matter who's in that gym, like you got a good spotter and nothing's going to happen to you. So you just have that extra confidence to push a little bit harder.
Yeah, that makes sense. Having good spotter, like I just started using side spotters recently, and that makes it like it not even a big deal to fail anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just a peace of mind, like be able to stand back up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they'll catch it. They'll see it going down, right? And they just grab it, so you don't even know. And
Yeah.
like if you're good at straining, you're just trying to push, and if it doesn't
Yeah.
move, well, they got you.
Yeah.
I
That's
need.
definitely I could see the benefit of having a crew with that for
I
sure.
gotta. I gotta get me some of those. I gotta stop training alone and get me some of those.
You got high school kids, just use them
Not.
as slaves.
Not when I train. Not at 9 a.m. They don't train when I
Well, maybe you
train.
need to wait and train with them. Show them how it's done.
Oh God. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I trust some of those little turds to catch the bar, or
Well,
they'll
you got to
grab it.
make
Grab it
them
too
so that
early.
you
Yeah.
trust them. This is all on you. You're the one that owns the gym.
Just
You've got
scream
to
at
be
them.
Louis.
I always, if I do train around them, I'm always looking at them like, don't touch my bar unless I'm gonna die. Like, just don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Right.
Because they get scared. They get nervous. They're like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's a normal response. I feel like when you don't is the one when it's not normal. Like I'm the one like, yo, hello, let's see what happens. I don't know. Maybe something bad will happen. Probably not.
Did you ever have like a story of like a what the hell moment at West Side that you just remembered to this day that was like beamed into your head? You're like, holy moly! Like maybe something that a lifter achieved on a lift that you were just like, holy cow, that's super impressive, or something that just kind of burned in your brain to this day.
I guess there were probably a couple of I remember Greg Panoro was there when I was there, and that guy was just, I mean, he still is just a beast. And he had just got done, they had their heavy squat day, and Louis had these boxes, and this box was, trying to remember, I think it was a 60-inch box. And I mean, shoot, I'm only like 5'6", so I'm like, that's pretty much me. And Greg just kind of walks over there after squatting, just jumps right up on top of it like it was nothing. And to see a guy that big, that explosive after putting out like that much effort, it really kind of put in perspective like, man, this is a different type of strong. And there was I remember the first day I got there, like I had my training journal with me because I wanted to document everything, and like I'm kind of a data junkie. And Louis like, we don't use these here, and I was like, okay. So I'd start walking over towards Laura Phelps was there, and I was friends with Tony Ramos and a couple of the other guys, but I didn't know too much about the women. No disrespect, I just hadn't followed women's powerlifting much. So I start walking over there, and I'm like, I'm guessing I'm probably lifting with the girls. And Louis just starts laughing. He's like, "There is no way you're keeping up with her." And I saw her pull. I think it was like, and it wasn't like one of her heaviest lifts. I think there was like five something on the bar, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going over to the other room. And then I, of course, had the fun of playing a couple jokes on Louis. Louis get really fired up, like if he had like wrist straps. And one day, like we were pulling, and I was walking around pretending like I'm looking for something. Louis like, "You're up. What you doing?" I was like, "I can't find my lifting gloves, or lifting gloves, not wrist straps." He's like, "What?" And I was like, I thought he was gonna throw me out on the spot. I was like, "Just kidding." He's like, "I was about to throw you out."
Oh,
Yeah,
Sounds
it
like
was
my kind of
great
gym.
experience.
I can't imagine Panora jumping on a 60-inch box. That's something.
Ken, the
Uh,
guy's a fucking
Phenomenal.
freak.
I mean, I can see him doing it. I'm just saying, like, to see it would have been like,
Probably
wow,
280 pounds at the time too.
golly.
It was the funniest thing. I mean, he's standing by this box, and in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, we're all standing around this box, and he kind of looks over at it, just casually looks at it, and then just jumps on top of it like it was something he could do 20 times in a row. And I remember thinking to myself, like, first of all, if I looked over at that box, I'd be looking at it a few more times before I even thought of jumping. And usually, I don't have a lot of hesitation. And to just see the ease that he did that with, and like just the confidence of like, I'm absolutely going to land on this. And of course, then the execution of it. I mean, it was really cool.
Well, that's like in West Side versus the World. You watch Hoff jump on some of those
Yeah.
boxes, and you're like, "What
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck? Like you're 300 pounds. How the
yeah.
fuck do
It's
you do that?"
it's incredible. I mean, these big guys, like everybody knows they're strong, but to see how explosive they are, and the work capacity too. I mean, it's really impressive. I had a whole new level of respect for these guys after getting to train there.
Yeah, I can only imagine. That's the only place I've been and watched somebody bench 800 pounds.
Unbelievable. Yeah, there was a guy who was also 181 there. Actually, I think he was 190. Well, he competed at 181. Shoot, blacking out his name. Jason.
Coker?
Uh, no. That'll come to me. Anyways, he was in there just training, not even a meet or anything, and he had like six something on the bar, and it's like, and with a shirt and everything. But I mean, with a shirt or without, like that's over 600 pounds. And just to see, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I was proud of my bench. That was the best I ever did. And you see what these guys do, and it's like, oh yeah, I got a ways to go, but it's fun. It motivates you to work harder,
Yeah.
and everybody's really accessible there. Everybody wants to see everybody succeed. So they're happy to give you pointers and tell you what worked for them, and just great camaraderie, great atmosphere, everything.
How hard was it to learn the gear?
Um, Honestly, I did not do a good job of learning that gear. The bench shirt was the hardest for me to learn because it was just completely different mechanics. And I prefer to squat just a little bit wider than shoulder width up. To me, like logically, I'm thinking like if I want to jump as high as I can, that's going to be my maximum expression of power and explosiveness. So that's kind of always been my squat stance. And when I was there, they wanted me to use that really wide stance. The briefs I was good with, but as soon as we put that squat suit on, by the time I got into it, because those things are so tight, I mean, I was practically out of breath going up to take the lift. So it was definitely a challenge to learn. But like once you learn it and you kind of find that groove where you really get that spring from it, you can certainly appreciate like the um, benefit to using it.
So it is like a completely different thing than raw lifting then.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people go, oh, well, they use equipment. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like it's still the weight is still the weight, and like the equipment probably adds another layer of complexity to it as opposed to like, oh, just squat.
Yeah, I think the I guess kind of the way I explain it to people when you think about that gear, if your issue is like elasticity and you learn how to use that gear, you're really going to see a benefit from it. But like if you're used to, for me at least, I was used to lifting raw, and I felt like I had my form kind of locked in, like for a raw lifter. So it's almost like I had to completely learn my form on all those lifts all over again. It was like me accommodating the gear. But to your point about like the weight, like heavy is heavy, like whether you got gear or not. Like my raw numbers went up when I was lifting with gear, and my gear numbers went up when I was lifting with raw. So I think if you're really doing it correctly, and luckily they taught me how to do it correctly, you should see gains in both departments. And if you're only seeing gains on one side of that, then there's probably something that you could be doing a little bit differently. So you're seeing the benefit on both sides.
Alex, we got to get you in the gear. That's the next step.
No way. I'm gonna stick with raw stuff. I already know who the best in the world is in gear, and I'm never gonna touch that guy's numbers. So I'd rather, sell myself a pipe dream of maybe I can be one of the better people raw.
Now
Well,
raw is
speaking of which,
awesome.
I just got some lifters, Nathan. So we'll see how the squat goes in those.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. More
Squeeze,
quad dominant,
squeeze
less glutes and adductors that Louis would want me to use. He'd be
more.
pissed.
Well, that's yeah, more your style. It fits your squat style.
Yeah. I mean, Ed did tell me I squat like an Olympic lifter, so
You
we'll just
do.
keep going down that road.
Ass to grass, sir.
I mean, just don't want to get called for depth.
That'd be terrible.
Did you
That's
ever compete,
probably.
Anthony?
I'm sorry.
Did you ever compete?
Competed in both bodybuilding and
Oh, okay.
powerlifting. Actually, right before I was supposed to do the meet for Westside, that's when
Hmm.
I ended up getting the job for Charles.
Oh,
And had literally I had a week to move out there, so I didn't do a meet while I was with Westside, but competed in both.
which one do you think's harder?
Um, I'd say they're hard for different reasons. Like I think, and Um, uh, well, kind of the way I look at it, like there's things I like about both of them. So like for bodybuilding, just like seeing how my body changed and like kind of thinking through like why this happened and the whole process and the science of it, the preparation, absolutely loved. Great experience, but like the actual getting up there on stage, like in the trunks and flexing, like no interest at all. I just enjoyed the process. And then for powerlifting, it was funny. It was kind of the opposite, like the training. I loved it. I love lifting heavy weights. I love seeing a bar move fast. But it was like, man, I just want to get up there and compete. And when you get up there, it's just so exciting. But I mean, physically, like it's a lot of strain. It's a real challenge. So I guess maybe I'd say powerlifting's tougher in that sense, but like the preparation for bodybuilding, um, it's I was lucky with my preps. It wasn't like never had to starve myself or anything, but like just always having to think through things. Mentally, it was challenging.
How much of the N1 stuff that you've learned recently do you wish you would have had back then?
I really love their programming model. I think the programming, especially like I found as I get older, it's perfect. It lets me balance, like getting gains in strength, gains in size, but biggest thing, not getting injured. And they do such a brilliant job of teaching it. Like, absolutely love those guys. Can't say enough good things about them, their education. 100% recommend it to everybody. I mean, shoot, I'm a good example of somebody that's been training for 25 years, went over there and learned a different way of doing things. And ever since learning it, like I've really taken what I've learned, continue to learn from them and kind of made it my own. And, um, but yeah, to answer your question, I wish that's the education I wish I would have started with. But when I first started out,
Yeah.
um, the no regrets about like I've had so many great experiences with trainers and everything, but the first certification I did was ISSA, good certification, but
Same
man,
here.
when I look at like what we learned in N1 versus like uh, ISSA, and then I taught for a NASM for a while, and did that certification. And when I think about like how prepared I feel and how empowered I feel after the N1 stuff to get results for people versus after I sent my test in, this was like way back. I mean, when you literally took the test, wrote it out, mailed it in, and they sent you back your results, like, just I didn't have the sense like I could go out there, get clients and get results. Like I kind of I had a degree in bro science, like I knew what worked for me, but I didn't feel like I had enough to really be impactful when I got out there.
Since you and Chasm are both kind of like Paul Quinn disciples, do you see a lot of carryover of what you learned from him as what Kaz teaches too, or do you see like what he took from there and was able to kind of make his own and blend it into his own kind of
It's
teaching type stuff?
no, that's a great question and really good observation. It's interesting. Like if you just read Charles stuff, it seems like you can see the influence, but it looks like they're kind of like two different places. But when you actually like have conversations with Charles and like um, see like how he trained his athletes and how frequently like the programs change and how intuitive he was with like Chasm does such a brilliant job of articulating all the things that Charles naturally saw and would adapt to. I think they're more similar than they are different. And I think what Chasm did such a good job of doing is taking this, because Charles really, it was kind of marketed to like really high level Olympic athlete training coaches or like just top coaches, which is terrific. But it was almost kind of intimidating because you're thinking like, I've got a couple athletes I work with and I want to learn this for myself, but if most of who I'm training is general pop, is there really going to be value here? And what Chasm did was he took that information and made it so it's more focused on um, transformations, the same stuff, but the way he marketed it and how accessible it is, and just his way of explaining the concepts in like a really conversational matter, I think made it something that resonates with a lot of people and better way to get that out there.
It's easy to digest, that's for sure. And you just,
Yeah,
I mean, and then like if you just go to their website, the amount of free stuff that they give out too is so good that you can get a good starting point as well.
yeah,
So yeah, their information's awesome. That's what my goal this year is, to get out to one of their practicals. I haven't been to one, so that's one of my goals. Get out there and do that.
100%. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Um, my favorite one that I've done, actually favorite two, the biomechanics stuff is really cool, but my favorite was personally the programming stuff. Um, really got me to rethink like my whole program design and like why I do things. And then anybody that's struggling with the business stuff at all, Cody's business class, and I've been in business for myself for 25 years. I even took stuff away from there and have better ways of doing things now. And I don't think anybody can ever get too good at business. And it's awesome in the sense that it's really dialed into like what's going to help a trainer grow their business, reach their audience, dial in on like what they want to do and who they want to do it with. Business class is great.
Yeah, I thought the business one was a great overview for people, even if you're not just starting out. Because I had some experience when I took it, and I'm like, oh shit, there's some really good stuff in here. So
Yeah,
like everything they do, it's really more optimal and just trying to figure out systems and stuff to build to make it streamlined for yourself.
yeah, yeah. They do just such a great job of kind of systemically laying things out in a really logical fashion, presenting it in a conversational manner. So it's like, irregardless your point of entry, you're going to be able to take that material and really apply it like Monday morning.
Yeah, for sure. And Nathan, don't forget to use my link when you do that. So I'll buy you a meal when you're out here.
That's fair. That's fair
Hey,
enough.
look, I got the t-shirt on today, even. Let's go. Come
Oh
on.
yeah,
Laundry
I
day,
was gonna
so I
wear
don't
my
get to wear
hat.
my own
Yeah,
I
stuff.
was about to say, I was
yeah,
like, that's a rare sighting. He's not wearing his own company's clothes. I'm like, some,
Yeah.
somebody get the
Got to do the
screenshot.
laundry at some point, bro. Got to do the laundry at some point. And the blue makes my eyes look better, allegedly.
Oh,
That's what the ladies tell me,
that's
anyways.
about to say that's the true reason behind the shirt. Now we know.
Yeah, right? I need more blue shirts, apparently. Oh, I don't know.
Oh man. Well,
have you guys looked at any of the N1s that you're going to this next year? Or?
I'm
I
going to try to get to the program design one. That's the
Yeah.
only one I haven't taken yet.
yeah, I think that I've not been to any, and I would like to go to the biomechanics one. I think that's an area that I could grow in pretty substantially. That or the nutritional one.
Anthony, have you seen the biometrics course that they offer through Dustin Nelson? Have you looked at that at
That is
all?
phenomenal. It's
You've taken it? Yeah.
yeah, I've done all their courses. It is so cool. Like, and in fact, like that one, because Charles was always really big on the integration of like the Chinese medicine with training and
Right.
using a lot of their diagnostic tools to assess athletes. And Dustin does such a brilliant job of breaking it down. And um, you'll no exaggeration, like you go through that course and you'll have a um, thorough understanding of Chinese medicine and competence to go assess people, and really good protocols in terms of like if somebody's immune challenged, if somebody's waking up at certain times, like the amount of usable information that's in that course, it's just awesome. And I'm big on biometrics too. I think that the better you can interpret how somebody's responding to training and that kind of thing, the better you can dial in what they need and what's going to be optimal.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I got to go to an in-person one with him there. It was like
That'd be
before they
sweet.
released the course. And so they let us come and do like all that stuff in person, like finding the different points and different stuff like that on our
Wow,
bodies and stimulating them before we lifted and stuff. So that was pretty fascinating.
that's awesome.
And like the way he explained it, he goes, a lot of people say that it's this, that, or the other thing, but what the Chinese really did is they took all their information before World War II and put it together. And then they would basically lie to anybody that would come over there to try to learn it because they didn't want to give it away. So it's like there's a bunch of misinformation from all kinds of different people, and you have to go over there and learn it from somebody in China to actually understand the basis of it and how it's all supposed to work.
Makes sense. Yeah. The between that and then the language barrier, I think too, like initially that yeah, it's I think doesn't Dustin live and practice in Chicago now?
I'm not sure where he's at, to be honest with you. I just know
Yeah.
I got to meet him at their headquarters because they had this one in-person one that we
Yeah.
did, and it was really cool. I was just
That'd
fascinated
be
by all the
incredible.
shit that he taught us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I think I've done all their courses and I did the in-person program design, but I was looking at maybe trying to get out there this next year for in person, and then the clinician that I work with out in Boulder with the Everspan team, I'm looking at I want to talk to the N1 guys about seeing if there's some interest in he and I piggybacking on one of the things they're doing, and we'd cover like advanced supplementation, peptides, and blood work assessment. I think probably be fun for people to learn about that stuff and really feel empowered in those areas, and it would complement what they're doing, like with maybe the hypertrophy or the program design. We can even teach people how to for each phase of training, like which peptides, which supplements, what labs to run, so that you're really, if you want to get that in the weeds with it, you can really know what to do.
The clinician you have out here, they do blood testing and stuff like that.
Uh huh.
I'll have to get that information from you then.
Yeah, absolutely. They are incredible. The clinician I work with, he lives in Boulder, and he lectures for A4M. Just brilliant guy. And then there's a anesthesiologist who she lives down in Texas. Also just brilliant, like um, she does injection stuff, like with some of the new like plasmapheresis, exosomes, all that stuff. And just as a team, it's like the amount of information you have access to and the support. And but yeah, I'm happy to pass that info on to you, and couldn't think of a better team to work with.
Nice.
Right in
Appreciate
your
that.
right in your backyard there, Alex. Perfect.
Yeah, man, there's some cool things here in Colorado. Not a lot, but there are some cool things here in Colorado.
I keep telling
Cool.
my fiance I want to move out to Boulder. You guys, I mean,
You don't
it's
want to live in Boulder, but yes, Colorado's nice.
Colorado, yeah. It's you guys got all the sunshine out there. N1's out there. You guys are out there. The Everspan's out there. The clinician I work with, and you guys got great places to eat. I'm like, can't ask for too much more.
Yeah, it's just the people in Boulder are super weird. So especially coming from Ohio,
I
you
did
wouldn't
hear
want to deal
that.
with them.
Yeah.
They're a bit odd, but you know, you can find pockets that are okay. But as someone who's grown
That's
up in
what I
Boulder County
heard.
my entire life, let me tell you, the people, they're unique. That's the nicest way I can put it. I literally had a client who came to one of the, I think she went to the biomechanics practical you're at, and she's like, "Yeah, I could never live there." I go, "I know what that means. I'm fully aware. I know why. It's okay. It's not. It has nothing to do with the scenery. It has nothing to do with the weather. It has everything to do with the vibe. And yeah,
Yeah,
you get a little
it
little
was
weird
kind of a
out here.
weird vibe. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, but I always wonder, like, from other people's eyes, like, what's it look like? Because every time I tell bring people here, I'm like, this place is fucking weird. They're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "It's fucking weird." Like Boulder, for example, doesn't have Chick-fil-A. They won't allow a Chick-fil-A in Boulder. They won't
Really?
allow Walmart. Oh, yeah, no, there is none of
Huh.
that shit.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what Voodoo Donuts is? You ever heard of
no, it
Voodoo
sounds good
Donuts?
though.
So it's a donut place in Portland, and their big thing is like their logan is like good things come in pink boxes. So
Yeah.
all of their stores are pink. They tried to open one in Boulder, and they painted the building pink, and the city wouldn't let them paint it pink. They're like, no, it's got to be
Really?
a different color. So they had there's only gray Voodoo Donuts building ever
Huh.
because Boulder is that way.
Crap.
So
That's
yeah,
weird.
Boulder is very, very fascinating in that sense that they don't want things to be done anyway except for the way they want them to be
Yeah. Yeah. I was so focused on the food and training. I think I was probably walking around in an insulin coma the whole time.
That's fair. That's understandable. And yeah, the scenery is amazing. So I could
Yeah.
see being distracted and not picking up on the little things. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird place for sure.
Huh.
I obviously haven't found anywhere better because I'm still here.
Well,
So
Anthony,
when's
do you,
uh-huh.
do you have anything else you'd like to give to us or present for us, or any other information you'd like to give out to the people? Thank you for coming on and spending your time with us.
Oh, it's really my pleasure. Honored to be asked to be on your guys' podcast. I appreciate the being on here. If anybody is interested in learning more about peptides, or I do a free question answer every month on my Instagram feed. It's just at Anthony Castore. Um, and I'll shoot you guys over the link for the Limitless Life nootropics peptides.
Yeah,
And also shoot you over the clinician. They do telemed. So if somebody lives in another state and wants to have somebody really qualified look at their blood work and assess their health, that kind of thing, they're accessible.
perfect.
Um, and then if people do go on the Limitless Life Nootropics, and they want to use my discount code, it'll save all you guys 10%. It's just peptide pit stop without any spaces, and super easy. Yeah, peptides can still be expensive, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll definitely, I'll link your Instagram in the description
Sure.
below, so if people want to go follow you and get more information about all all these acronyms and letters and names and get all this information. I don't know how you keep it straight in your head. That's awesome that you have that amount of information and understand all that stuff. So we appreciate you coming on today, spending some time with us, giving up some of your day to come hang out with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Anytime.
listen to this thing like 6 times to understand what the fuck we even just learned. Be
That's
like,
what
oh, gotta write that down again. Oh,
I'm gonna.
rewind, go back.
Yep.
Oh shit.
I'll tell you guys the secret. Like 99% of my brain is science, and like 1% is like other stuff. But if you guys ask me a simple question about like computers, like how do you turn on a computer, I'd be like, so yeah, some stuff I just did it imprints, but There's plenty of stuff I don't know, and just lucky to have people a lot smarter than me to ask questions too.
That's
how
what
we feel doing this podcast.
that's
Everyone we have on here is way smarter than us, and we're like, holy fuck, how did this even happen?
awesome.
So thanks for being to the list of people that make us feel stupid. Appreciate that.
Thanks again for having me on, and appreciate what you guys do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Every Wednesday, come get your piece of humble pie from us. That's
Absolutely
exactly how that goes, right?
Exactly
Well,
right.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. We got a new rabbit hole to dive down, and I'll be asking you a lot of questions here in the future.
Anything I can do to help, more than happy.
Cool.
Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Thanks, you too, man. Have a good day.
Yep, thanks.